It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. Welcome to the Dep Lewis Show, episode 167. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Sunday, February 15th, 2026. A great day for a podcast about video games and more. So I hope you're doing great out there in the world, wherever and whenever you're listening to this. Thank you so much for being here. The first order of business is to ask you to follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast, so find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. YouTube is also a great place to watch me play some games live or check out the videos later. If you would like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is available if you'd like to subscribe monthly. Also, Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you would like to support the show. And today's show will have three sections as always. The first section, I'll tell you about what video games I've been playing since I've last talked to you on this microphone. The mid section, which is the middle of the show. It's not mid in quality. That's where I tell you everything going on around the video game world that you need to know. And the third and final section, the Miscellaneous Talk section, a break from all the video game talk, and I normally get into the worldwide world of sports, and that would be the case today for keeping you up to date with what's going on with all my favorite teams out there. So that's the plan. That's the plan over here on this rainy Sunday. I'm recording a little bit later than normal because there are no sports to watch today. The football is gone. The baseball is only a couple months away. Can start kind of smelling the baseball out there in the air a little bit, but just a rainy Sunday, and decided to record a little bit later. So that's what's going on with me. So let's get into this podcast. What have I been playing in the past week? And there's been a consistent game I've been playing this year, and that's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. And at the beginning of this year, I believe January 15th, I believe it was a month ago, a free update launched for Animal Crossing New Horizons, and then also the Switch 2 version launched. And I had restarted my file at the end of last year, so I had a brand new island with nothing going on. I just pull up to the island, me and Tom Nook, and we're figuring it out. And now I have finally gotten to the point where I'm seeing some of the new content, which is pretty cool. So at one point, when the new content came out, I'm like, oh man, I'm not really going to be able to see this for a while. But one of the major update things was a hotel coming to my island, and that's actually being built overnight tonight. So I'll be able to see what's going on with that tomorrow. The frog guy pulled up in his boat so he can take me to other islands. I did that previously, but I really can't remember what that is. Currently, I can't remember what exactly it does anymore. It sounds like it just takes me to a deserted island. And, excuse me. So I'm pretty excited to say I'm finally seeing some of the new extra content. So maybe I'll actually be able to report back on how that's going in the future. And I'll be seeing some new stuff that I've never seen in this game before because I played this game for so long. On my original file, I got to a 5-star island, and I'm just, back to the basics. But I did get my island up to a 3-star island. I checked in with Isabel, and I didn't really expect to get up to 3 stars, but she's like, hey, you got 3 stars, and guess what? Your beloved KK Slider can come through for a concert. So KK came and did his initial concert on Showville Island yesterday. It was a pretty great time. So he pulled up for the concert, more of like a celebration, and then every Saturday from now on, he's going to pull up around, I think, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to come put on a concert for the Showville residents. So I'm very happy over here to have the great KK Slider committed and excited about joining my island and Animal Crossing. So that was pretty cool. And then I also forgot that the credits actually run for this game after this, but there's still a lot you can do. It initially gives you some really good things to get for your Nook miles. There's a bunch of the terraforming stuff and the paths and the walkways, so you can really get into designing your island. I've been trying to keep my island pretty naturalistic, so I think I'm going to continue with this for a bit, but having some of the walkways and stuff could be nice potentially, so I'm going to see about that. But for now, I'm still really trying to get my money back up because I'm pretty broke here on this island. I did invest in the turnip game again. I put like 50,000 bells into it. I think the turnips are over $100, so I haven't gotten any cheap turnips yet, but there are the possibilities, according to the turnip tracker, that I can 6 times my turnip profit this week. So we'll see. That would really be nice and really help out my bank account here. I potentially want to get I did build another incline. I don't know if I mentioned that. So I do have an incline going up to one of the, the top parts of my island. They're really the most wild parts. There's still weeds up there. But that's where I did find Daisy May today to buy the turnip. So
They are using every bit of your island. But I think I would maybe want another bridge. I definitely need another bridge at some point. I need another incline. And I guess I potentially need to pay off my next loan to Tom Nook to get a bigger space for my house. So I do need some money. I'm pretty broke. I've been broke after buying the bridge and the incline that I did do. So hopefully I can make some money on the turnips and overall just make some more money off, the resources around. I do have cherry trees on my island now, which those make more money selling them because they're not indigenous to my island. I did plant coconut palm trees. I guess they're called coconut trees. I could be wrong there. But I planted coconut trees, and those are not, I think I do get a higher rate for those two, and instead of just the normal oranges that grow on my island already. So I've been having a lot of fun with this game. What else do I want to say? I'm just going to I got to keep checking the prices for the turnips daily, keep doing some small tasks, trying to make some money, and I'll be able to see some of the new stuff, I guess, this week, see what's going on with the hotel. Maybe I'll take a boat ride again, and I forget what some of the other new content that was added, but I guess I could look into it a little bit more and see what I'm dealing with. So I've been pretty excited about this. I've been having a whole lot of fun with Animal Crossing New Horizons, and that is my update on that game for the week. All right, I did buy a new game last week, and that is Mario Tennis Fever. So I'm going to talk about this new release in the first section here because I've played a good bit of this so far. This game released on February 12th for Nintendo Switch 2, so it's Switch 2 exclusive release. It's a full price game, $69.99 US. So definitely expensive. Hit the court for explosive action in the latest Mario Tennis game, and I would say possibly proceed with caution when purchasing this. Basically just because of the price and maybe what's involved with this game. I think I'm enjoying it though, and I think it's doing what I would want it to do, but I think that might be a very small subsect of people here. But I think the main warning about Mario's Tennis Fever, if you're looking for like a robust like story RPG mode, that is not here. The story is very, very simplistic and basic. It's basically a tutorial, and it's one of those things like this could have been an email. I don't think it's too terrible, but it's definitely not like enthralling and engrossing and going to be captivating you or whatever kind of word you can think of for the story mode in here. And that's a little bit disappointing because some type of simple story or RPG elements, like they have Golf Story as a video game that came out, and I've heard other people speak about like even some of the Game Boy ones or the Game Boy Advance one has more like story elements to it or RPG elements, and why couldn't they involve that here? So I definitely think that could have been nice, and I think that's a pretty big deterrent for people that are looking just to play something like that. But I think this game is really fun, and with the simple mechanics of the tennis is extremely fun. I think there's a lot of depth to what you're doing. It seems like so far there's a lot of different shots you can do, a lot of different button combinations. All the different characters have different play styles and different attributes. There's a bunch of different rackets you can use that all have different attributes. I barely used any of those so far. I've just been mainly using the regular rackets, trying to figure out the lay of the land. But it does seem like there is, all the tennis stuff playing is really, really fun. So I think if you like playing, in person with people or online with people, I think this game can be extremely fun if you do that consistently. If you're looking for, well, I guess you can do some computer matches in here and things like that. But if you're looking for, I guess, a big story mode, I would say be weary here with the Mario Tennis Fever. But the online matches have been really fun. It doesn't have a lot of options. It's just really, if you want to play some people online, you go to ranked matches. And it gives you, I guess it gives you 4 different categories within that. One's with Fever Rackets, one's without Fever Rackets, and then I'm not sure what the other 2 are. But I've been playing the mode without Fever Rackets. And when I started it after my first match, it ranks you, like your world ranking, and I was at 3,000. So I lost my first match, lost my second match, it bumps me down to 5,000. And I have fallen down to the 13 to 14,000 range. I think I'm better than 14,000, but I don't think I'm better than 13,000 right now. So I think it's kind of got me in the right territory where I'm playing some people that are pretty close to me in skill. So I've been having fun with that, and that's a really fun thing to be doing. There's also another meter down there that's called your rating. So I guess as your rating goes up, that kind of goes up and down based on how you're doing, and then your rank does as well. So it's just like kind of 2 indicators where you can see of your rank. I like that the online matches are so short and simplistic. I think that's the thing that Nintendo online matchmaking does do well, like in Splatoon 3, where these are just matches you play to 7 points. So it's very quick, but you can get down to the tiebreakers and stuff like that. They can take a little bit longer, and the matches do, if you get to a 7-6 match or a 6-6 match, 6-5, whatever it is, you've played a lot of points. They start getting pretty stressful at the end. So I've been thinking of this game a lot like a fighting game almost, where, it's just a one-on-one battle. You're trying to figure out the nice button combinations. You're trying to guess the next move. You're trying to be sneaky. And it's a really kind of a quick match. I've been thinking that's pretty fun. And you can get right back into the matches very, very quick. That's one thing about this game. The load times are extremely minimal in all the modes, and I think that's a little bit stands out. I don't know why it does, but it might just be, I guess it's thank you to the Switch 2 hardware, but this game really does get you in the menus quick, into the matches quick, even into the next match, into the, all the options, all the menus, and that's, just a nice little slice of life feature or whatever that's nice to have or whatever. But Mario Tennis, Tennis Fever, I've been having fun with this. Let's see what other kind of notes I took about this. They say hit the court for explosive action in the latest Mario Tennis game. I guess, I don't know if the previous games had online matching, online ranking, online matchmaking for ranked or anything like that. I think maybe the prior games only had matchmaking for playing with friends online, possibly, but I could be wrong about that. But I could see the argument of, not if you have the old one, maybe you don't need this one, but I've been having fun with it. Waluigi and Yoshi have been my favorite characters so far. Waluigi is a defensive player, and it says that he's good at playing the net, so I've actually been using him, and that's been one of my good strategies, but I have been getting figured out by some of the people at the net, like Bowser was a bad matchup for me because he was just, shooting rocket fire tennis balls at me, and I wasn't really able to get to the net and control things, and I ended up losing that match. So I needed to change my play style up a little bit there, and that's some of the fun, like cat and mouse game in here with the Mario Tennis. But I did unlock Yoshi kind of recently. That's one good thing. There's a really large cast of characters in here. They're not all unlocked at the beginning. You can unlock them by just playing the different modes and playing different, if you get to 17 matches played, you might unlock something. So you're slowly unlocking people. I have a ton of characters still to unlock, which is nice. And I unlocked Yoshi. I won a couple matches online with Yoshi. So I think those are the only two characters I've actually won some matches with. And I've lost a lot of matches with Daisy. I've lost a lot with all the characters. Daisy, Waluigi, Yoshi. And I played some Diddy Kong so far. A little bit of Shy Guy because I like him from the past Mario Tennis games because he can put a whole lot of spin on the ball. And, hopefully I'll be getting my rank up. I want to finish the story mode at some point, but I don't even think that's going to be anything to really report back on. I think I've already kind of told you everything you need to know or everything I need to know about the story mode, but maybe I will just seek it through because it's something, I guess if you want to call it relaxing to play, it's pretty much sleep inducing, but it's something to go through. You can learn, I like learning the mechanics of the game, getting familiar with it and learning some of the shots and getting some of the button or the pad, I guess not the muscle memory, but I guess maybe it is something like that of remembering all the combinations. And because when you get in the heat of battle on there online, you might start fumbling which shot, how do I do a lob shot? How do I do a drop shot? That kind of thing. And then I needed to have some pretty good strategy in there. So if you like online playing or have people you want to play with in person a lot, I think this could be a really, really fun game to add to your Switch 2 arsenal. But if you're looking just for a story mode, I think you're going to be very, very disappointed, and especially with the price tag on it. But I think it's a really good tennis game. I think everything it's doing tennis-wise seems extremely fun and top tier, and the visuals look really, really great, and all that stuff, other than the story mode just being lame, is really, really good about Mario Tennis Fever, and I've been having a lot of fun with this. So we'll see if I end up getting hooked to the online play in this, and I will definitely keep you up to date with my rankings, especially if they go up, because I want to come on here and tell you about it. So I've been playing Mario Tennis Fever, and that's a new release. So what else have I been playing in the past week? I've also been playing some Pokemon Sword. I'm just still making progress here. I'm still in between the 3rd and 4th gym. I've mainly just been doing some leveling, trying to catch some Pokemon I haven't collected so far yet. So this one has truly been relaxing to play, where, especially when you're leveling, you are really just kind of, trouncing, walloping enemies, beating them to a pulp, and leveling up. So that's what I've been doing in some Pokemon Swords. Nothing too crazy to report back there, but I have been on a pretty good Pokemon kick and having fun with that. I've also played in the past week some Cyberpunk 2077 on Switch. I did pick up a micro SD express card to increase the storage of my Switch, which is very nice. So I had almost had filled up the base hard drive, which I don't think is necessarily a knock on the system. I just do have a lot of digital games and like to have them installed for whatever reason. but I think, you can fit a ton of games on the base hard drive already. But if you're going to be playing some of the big third-party games, it is going to require a lot of space, and it could easily, 2 of those games could probably take up the internal hard drive itself. So I downloaded Cyberpunk. I think it's a 60 gigabyte download. I got this back when it was on sale, that crazy like glitch sale or whatever, and I just had taken it off my hard drive because it was taking up so much space. But now that I have the micro express SD, it fits on there very, very easily, so that's nice. And it was easy to install the micro express SD. All you do is flip your switch around and handheld, and you lift up the whatever it's called, not the dock, but the stand. You lift up the stand, and it's over there kind of on the right side. You just slide the SD card in, and that's all there is to it. I think the system will make you restart or whatever, but it was a very simple installation and just seamless. That was very, very nice. So I've been playing some Cyberpunk 2077. I think I'm like 3 hours in. I got to a point where I could just kind of drive around and walk around the city, and that's what I was doing. And it's just very, very impressive that this is running on a Switch 2 and how well it runs. I played this game originally when it released, back on Xbox One, where it was all glitched up. I kind of just got turned off by that and never really gave it a chance since then. But this game, I watched a video on YouTube of everything that's been updated since the release, and it's basically like they've made an entire new game on top of maybe 2 entire new games on top of this kind of thing. Like, it's really, really fully fleshed out now, and I think in a great state on most platforms. So I think it's a really good time to try this, especially if you can get it on a sale, or if you did get it on the sale. This has been on sale for Switch 2 a lot for $45 I've seen. So this is one definitely to check for if you're looking for some third-party fun on your Switch. And something, even playing this, it's definitely giving me Grand Theft Auto vibes from the city, but it's giving me a little bit more of, I like the writing and the content and the storyline going on. It's a little more grounded and maybe just more interesting is what it is so far. So it's really been really, really fun. I've been enjoying the characters, the world, and I wrote the writing. And I've been driving around in the car. It's just, it's one of those things, and I probably keep saying this, but you don't feel like you're playing a Switch when you're playing this game, especially using the Pro controller. It feels like you're just playing any other console. You're playing on PC. The game, I know it's not like hitting the high highs of the visuals, but the way they've optimized this to run on the Switch 2 is very, very impressive. And I hope I can continue to be impressed by this as I play through. And I've been having some more fun with that. So I've been playing some Cyberpunk. I did download Overwatch since I got all the hard drive space. Overwatch has been seeing a big resurgence, but I haven't really gotten into playing any of that since I've been doing some online matchmaking in Mario Tennis Fever. But that's been all the stuff I've been playing in the past week. So I've been playing Animal Crossing, New Horizons, Mario Tennis Fever, Pokemon Sword, Cyberpunk 2077, and this is the year of the front log on the Dep Lewis Show. So that's the whole theme of the year. I'm not looking to make a list of games I want to complete or looking to the beginning of franchises. I'm just looking forward this year. And, I looked forward to Mario Tennis Fever. So that's really been the first game on the year of the front log. And, I guess if game of the year had to be right now, Mario Tennis Fever would be my game of the year. I think it's quality enough where it's going to make my list or get mentioned possibly. But the year is long. This is the first of many, but it's a good start to it. So the year of the front log does come with a little bit of a list, and the only 2 games on there so far would be Resident Evil Requiem, which comes out February 27th. I'm about halfway on wanting to play, or I kind of do want to play that, but I'm just not sure if I'm going to do it right away. And then my most anticipated game for the year is Forza Horizon 6. This releases on May 19th for Xbox, and I'm going to be having to wait for the PlayStation version, which they say will come out later in the year. So that is my most anticipated game on the front log that I have right now. And that's everything going on in my video game world. I'm trying to think if there's anything else interesting going on with me video game wise, but I don't believe so. It's been a really great week for video games. I'm going to be playing some more of these in the upcoming week most likely, and it's nice having a brand new game for 2026. That's been just a neat thing to have. I'm really, really into the year now. We're really cooking over here. We got a new game to be considered for game of the year for 2026, and that is always one of my favorite podcasts to do at the end of the year, the Dep Lewis Show Awards. So that's everything I got for you for all my video game playing for this week. That's going to wrap up the first section of the show, and we're going to hear some lovely break music. And I'm going to come back and tell you everything going on around the video game world that you need to know. PlayStation had a state of play, so that is the main source of news from the week. It was an interesting show, some good stuff there, and there were some other news things I want to tell you about as well. So come right back after this music. Welcome back to the midsection of Dep Lewis Show, episode 167. This is where I tell you about everything going on around the video game world that you need to know. And last week, PlayStation had a State of Play. So this took place on February 12th. It was 60 plus minutes of news, gameplay updates, and announcements from game studios across the globe. It spotlighted eye-catching third-party and indie games headed to PS5 along with the latest from teams at PlayStation Studios. So I always enjoy watching these. I'm going to highlight the things that I thought were most impressive or cool to me, but as always, I would say maybe go watch these yourself because there could be some games in there that you think are interesting, but I'm going to try to hit the highlights here today on the show. So I kind of put these in order, I guess. They're pretty much in order of how interesting I thought they were or excited I am. And the first one is the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 2. So this has been announced, this has been rumored for a long time, and it's releasing on August 27th, 2026. So Konami's doing some really, really great things here. And Konami had an exceptional subsection of this show. It was really, really impressive, and it's nice to see Konami back doing their thing in a really high-level way. They're the developer and publisher of this Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 2. It's going to be $49.99 US, so they're not hammering you over the head completely on the price, which is nice. And this is going to be the second installment to the collection. It's going to feature Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots, and that's a game that I think I should consider for one of my favorite games of all time a little bit more, or at least put it in the conversation for my list at the end of the year, because I really had a lot of fun playing this game and have some really great memories of it. And that's the one that's only on the PlayStation 3. That's the only way you are able to play Metal Gear 4 right now. So it's been a long time coming for being able to access this on a different platform, and I think that's very, very exciting. In this collection as well, it's going to have Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, the HD collection version, and this was a PlayStation Portable game, and it's also going to have a digital soundtrack and also include Metal Gear Ghost Babel, which I hope is how you say that, as bonus content. And Ghost Babel was a Game Boy Color game. I have no familiarity with that, but anything else being included in these packages, I think these collections are very, very cool, and I think they are developing even better as time goes on. They're putting more love and work into these behind the scenes stuff, and just making a lot of people, even myself, will complain if you buy a physical game, there's no manual anymore. The box art's very minimal. Maybe even the art on the disc or the cartridge is very minimal. But a lot of these collections, like the Mortal Kombat collection, I think the Atari collection, a lot of people talk really highly of. And there's been some other games coming out recently that are showing, I think that Bomberman collection maybe had some stuff in it like that. But, adding a little bit of documentary stuff, or documentary, and just putting some more stuff in these purchases, I think is interesting and nice, and it gives you a little bit of that old feel by going through the menus in the games, and I think that's nice. And I think the Metal Gear Master Collection does a good job of that as well. So this is something I'm very excited about. I'm going to be extremely tempted to want to play Metal Gear Solid 4 on a modern platform, and all of us will be able to do so on August 27, 2026. And maybe that one will probably go on the list of my front log things I'm excited for the year. So talking about the State of Play that took place last week, they also announced Castlevania Belmont's Curse. And just got to say, the presentation and the art style of this looks so damn cool. And I'm excited for this. I don't know if this will be something I get into, but I think it just looks exceptionally cool. A really big standout just based on the art style, and there's a lot of 2D. I don't know if you term them. I guess they're Souls-like, hack and slash, beat 'em ups. They're all a little bit of a combination of that, but a 2D action adventure game has an extremely cool art style, and I think it matches I think it does, it's doing a nice remix on what you would expect from Castlevania, but it just looks awesome. This one's set 23 years after Castlevania's Dracula Curse. Follow a young Belmont's journey in a new 2D action exploration title from Konami, Evil Empire, and Motion Twin. So it's a joint development there going on for this one. It's taking place in medieval Paris, where the trolling bells herald the end. I don't know if I typed that in right, but the tolling bells, that's very, very picturesque there, a tolling bell. This is taking place in 1499. Paris is engulfed as monstrous creatures suddenly emerge from the shadows. Armed with the legendary Holy Whip, the vampire killer Trevor Belmont's successor ventures into the burning streets and the looming castle to hunt down the beast. Will she succeed in saving Paris from devastation? ? So they are touting satisfying whip action, a large selection of weapons and abilities, environment hazards that will make you grit your teeth, a new art style, and beloved elements of Castlevania make their return. So I think, if you're into this is putting into a category of like Dead Cells, Hollow Knight, Silk Song, I guess Bloodstained Requiem, directly Castlevania games. But there's a lot of good stuff going on here, and if they can execute on this and really, I think they could transition a lot of fans over here that haven't played Castlevania or just only know Castlevania for the older releases, and could potentially be a really, really, I'm saying it looks super quality as a game, but I think this could possibly end up selling well. And a very, very interesting thing, and one of the more interesting things I thought that took place from the Sony State of Play was the announcement of Castlevania Belmont's Curse. All right, a game from last year that was supposed to come out on Halloween that I've been excited for. I played the demo on Switch and had a lot of fun with that, and that's Mina the Hollower. It's been delayed previously, and they said, hey, it's going to come out next year, and now they've tightened the window a little bit. It's still strange to me that this doesn't have an actual date. I'm a little bit, even in the moment, I was happy when it was announced the time frame, but even thinking of it now, why can't they announce the actual date? It's a little bit worrisome, but they've announced spring 2026 as a release window. Now, spring's basically on our doorstep, unless you listen to the groundhog. But either way, spring's almost here, and it's just strange they're still being so vague. But they've also announced a limited time demo is available on PlayStation 5. I don't know why it's limited time, but it started on February 13th. The demo is already on Nintendo. I don't know if that's still available or not, but the progress does carry over to the full release if you try it out. The demo might take you, 30 minutes to an hour to complete. Maybe an hour's on the long side, but it's extremely fun. There's some good little puzzly stuff, but not too hard. The combat feels nice. The art style is cool. Music's cool, and I really think that demo sells the game very well. So please go try out the demo if you are interested in Mina the Hollower. And this is created by the people who made Shovel Knight. That's Yacht Club Games is developing and publishing this. And the back of the box talk on this one, Mina the Hollower, is take control of Mina, a renowned hollower hurtled into a desperate mission to rescue a cursed island, whip foes, burrow through the ground, and explore a pixel-perfect world in Mina the Hollower, a brand new game from the developers who brought you Shovel Knight. So a little bit perplexing, strange to me about the release window for this, but I am hoping this game will be out sooner than later. And I think, I guess maybe I need to put this one on my front log too. I need to take a couple notes from this show here and put them on my front log list for the year. All right, a game I'm extremely fond of. It's the game of the year for the Dep Lewis Show 2025. That's Ghost of Yotei. They have announced that some DLC is coming on March 10th, and this is called Ghost of Yotei Legends. This is an online co-op multiplayer mode where you'll team up with friends to challenge monstrous, supernatural versions of the Yotei 6. It will arrive in patch 1.5 free for all Ghost of Yotei owners. So Samurai, Archer, Mercenary, and Shinobi are the 4 classes. I don't know. This was definitely something I wasn't going to pay any money for to try. It being free to play is something might give it a chance, but and something else I learned, they did this with Ghost of Tsushima too. So I think this is kind of the same kind of mode that was semi-successful. So I think it's nice that they're adding this to the game at this point. And I could possibly see myself trying this out is pretty much all I'll say about it. I think it reminds me a little bit, trying to get in there on the Elden Ring Night Rain territory, a little bit of Monster Hunter territory, a little bit of the, Souls-like tidal wave that's going across the video game industry. It's doing a little bit of that. I think it's maybe a tough market to crack with the other options out there, but I wasn't familiar with this with Tsushima, so I might just be a little bit not knowing all the information on this. But Ghost of Yotei Legends, I think, is coming to PS5 on March 10th, and it's for free for owners of Ghost of Yotei, which is a wonderful video game. I highly recommend it. All right, I think this one maybe is the most surprising. I don't know if surprising, because I think this was kind of rumored a little bit, but I would say this was even if I don't think this thing completely lands, I think this was a cool announcement, and it was exciting how they did this. And I didn't write this in my notes, but I'll stick with what I was telling you about first. God of War Sons of Sparta was announced. So this was announced and released on the same day, which is very, very cool. They showed the trailer off, pretty short, pretty sweet trailer. It's Kratos as a young person, so it's like the origin of Kratos back when he was in Sparta. He doesn't really bear any resemblance to modern-day Kratos, besides just kind of having a short haircut. He doesn't sound like him. He doesn't act like him. So, there's a long bridge in between this young version of Kratos and where we've seen him in modern-day God of War. So they're trying to bridge the gap here. This is, some other studio. It's not Santa Monica Studio doing this. I don't know if Santa Monica Studio had any hand in this. I don't believe they did. But it's another studio doing this, which is interesting. And I think it's cool for that fact as well. I think it's nice that they have handed over the franchise to someone else to make something a little bit different. And I think this is something that a lot of people ask for. I think some people are saying this game's not landing. Maybe the art style doesn't look so great, or they're not into this version of Kratos. But it seems like this game is doing some pretty cool things. I think it's a nice option out there in the world, kind of more than anything. And maybe it's good. I've only seen a couple people kind of play this for a little bit, and I've heard some positive things and I've heard some negative things. So God of War: Sons of Sparta is out right now. It's $29.99 US on PlayStation 5, so another nice option, not in there for a full price game. And the back of the box talk is every legend has a beginning. Before he was a god, before he was a father, Kratos was a young Spartan. Experience an untold chapter in Kratos' journey, set during the harsh years of Spartan training alongside his brother Deimos. Through endless trials, their minds, bodies, and hearts have been molded to become Spartan soldiers for whom duty and honor mean everything. After a fellow cadet goes missing, Kratos and Deimos, hope I'm saying Deimos' name right, vow to find him and embark on an adventure that will put their training and Spartan spirit to the test. So I think if you're especially a fan of God of War, you're going to be really, really interested in this. And maybe if you're, a fan, like I was talking about earlier, of Dead Cells and the side-scrolling games, Hollow Knight, Castlevania, Metroid, this is a side-scrolling take on God of War. So definitely cool, a cool genre and a cool franchise mashed up together. I think it definitely has potential. I've never completed a God of War game. I've tried a few of them. I still think about trying some more of them in the future. I don't know if this would be the first one I would want to try, but I would watch some more people play this, or listen to some more feedback on it. And I think was one of the cooler announcements of this show, just for the Shadow announcement, or Shadow kind of an announcement. Well, I guess any announcement's a Shadow announcement, but an announcement and a Shadow drop is extremely cool, especially for such a prestigious franchise as God of War. They also announced that they're remaking or remastering the original trilogy. I don't think there was any timeline announced on that, but I guess Santa Monica Studio is the one working on that. And I guess the question there is if they're going to change the perspective or viewpoint of Kratos in those games, and what kind of work is going to be done to them besides just some visual upgrades and putting them all in one package. But I think that's interesting as well, and something else I wanted to mention here in the God of War section. So still talking about the Sony State of Play that took place. The last two were not new announcements. Well, not new games, but new announcements. Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls is something that they keep showing off, which looks extremely cool. So, just basically here, just showing off more of Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls. And this is going to release, I don't know if we had the release date previously, actually, but the release date is going to be for PS5 and PC, August 6th, 2026 for Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls. PlayStation Studios, Arc System Works, and Marvel Games have joined forces to realize the latest in tag team fighters. Experience the Marvel Universe like never before with reimagined characters and stages, a heart-pounding soundtrack, intuitive gameplay mechanics, and jaw-dropping visuals that will keep you on the edge of your seat. So this could be, I get into a fighting game from time to time. This one definitely looks cool in the art style. The Arc System Works touch in there just goes so nicely with the Marvel. It gives it more of a comic book anime style, and I think it looks really, really cool as a fighting game. And I'm interested in this one. I maybe can put this one on my front log too, and I'm realizing my front log is getting built out, but I don't know if all of these will be day one purchases for me, but I'm definitely going to be highly interested in these games on day one. And I guess they're doing a pretty good job here. Even if these aren't first party games, they've put together a great collection of video games to show off, and a lot of them are coming out from soon or to just not that long of a wait. So pretty cool. So Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls releasing on August 6, 2026. All right, the last announcement I want to talk about from the State of Play that I thought was interesting was Death Stranding 2 on the beach. It got its PC announcement, so it's going to look extra beautiful over there on the PC. I think if you have if you have a high-end PC and you're looking forward to this, you're going to be blessed with some, really, really cool looking game. And this is releasing for PC March 19th. It's $69.99 US, a full price release. Sam, with companions by his side, sets out on a new journey to save humanity from extinction. Join them as they traverse a world beset by otherworldly enemies, obstacles, and a haunting question: should we have connected? The initial release of Death Stranding 2 on the beach was June 2025, so a pretty quick turnaround to getting the PC version out there, and that's something that I think a lot of people have been looking at these days. And, in terms of the exclusives, they're going everywhere, and the time frames are becoming shorter and shorter. And I'm hoping that time frame is going to be short for that Forza Horizon 6 difference between Xbox and PS5, because, yeah, I really can't wait to play that game. I'm so super excited for that this year. All right, so that's everything from the state of play that I wanted to tell you about that took place last week. There were definitely other announcements and things that were done. So if you want to hear more announcements from that show, please go check it out for yourself on YouTube. It's over 60 minutes long, but I tried to highlight everything I thought was extra cool from the state of play. So that included Metal Gear Solid, the Master Collection Volume 2, Castlevania Belmont's Curse, Mina the Hollower, Ghost of Yotei Legends, God of War Sons of Sparta, Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls, and Death Stranding 2 on the Beach for PC. Some other news, just kind of general video game news of the week I want to tell you about. Kingdom Come Deliverance. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 came out last year and was high up there on the Game of the Year list for a lot of people. But the original game from 2018 is getting a next-gen update. So this one's less expensive, which is nice. It's $29.99 US dollars on PlayStation Network, I saw. And if you want to learn the origin of Henry's story if you just jumped into Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, this is going to be a good way to go back and play the original one. Kind of like a Red Dead 2 to Red Dead 1 situation. I'm thinking of it right now. But the next-gen update for Kingdom Come Deliverance, the first game, is coming. 60 frames per second, ultra-quality settings, improved visual assets, and it's a free upgrade. So they do a good job of this. And this is something I guess I've been saying recently of the, the full game doesn't come out at launch. That's, you wish it would, but you do end up getting these things, especially if you like these games and you're playing them for a long time. You're most likely going to get some free content at some point, and that's nice. And if it was there initially, that would be even better. But it's nice to get it even down the road. Just having to be a little bit patient, I guess. And in Kingdom Come Deliverance, the original, you can experience Henry's journey like never before with the next gen update out now. Oh, it's out right now, natively for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S. Witness the first chapter of Henry's story and the rise of a young rebel before the journey continues in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which is available right now on modern platforms. I think this game is on Nintendo Switch, but I think it runs poorly. I don't know if there's going to be an update to that in the future, but I think that would maybe be necessary in order to recommend this game on Switch. But if you have a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox, and I don't know if this game's on PC or not. Actually, I'm pretty sure it is. You are able to play Kingdom Come Deliverance in the best form or fashion it's been available in right now. Right now, if you'd like to. So that was the Kingdom Come Deliverance update. Diablo had its 30th anniversary spotlight last week. It took place on February 11th. So if you're a big Diablo fan, please go check that out, because there were maybe some more announcements in there. There were some announcements for Diablo 4, but the main one I want to talk about that I think is cool is Diablo 2 Resurrected has been announced and released. I don't know if they just changed the store page for Diablo 2 to this, but it is a new store listing, it looks like, based on the release date. Diablo 2 Resurrected will receive its first entirely new class in 25 years. So that's pretty amazing. I was talking about supporting a game down the road. This is the ultimate version. This is the LeBron James of longevity here. I guess LeBron James has almost played 25 years, but this is the career of LeBron James, still playing and still producing and still putting some things out there for the people. So Diablo 2, which we're on Diablo 4 now, which is pretty crazy, but in Diablo 2 Resurrected, the Reign of Warlock expansion represents a historic moment for the title, introducing a character archetype that straddles the moral and thematic boundary between holy zeal and infernal corruption. I hope I typed those correctly. Unlike existing classes, this incarnation of the Warlock specializes in forbidden rites and manipulates powers long considered untouchable, offering veteran players a distinctly new approach to traversing Sanctuary's familiar acts. So Diablo 2 Resurrected is $39.99 US dollars on Steam and available right now. All right, something looking a little bit forward. I guess we mentioned this last week because there was a Super Bowl ad, but Pokemon has its 30th anniversary coming up on February 27th, so everyone in the world is looking forward to this to see what kind of cool things are going to be announced. There was a Super Bowl ad last week for Pokemon, but this was basically just celebrities saying who their favorite Pokemon were. There wasn't actual an announcement that anybody would really want to hear. The big rumor mills going around saying a Fire Red and Leaf Green remakes are coming. They're going to be sold on the eShop separately, and I would be really, really excited about that. I think it would be cool to have the older Pokemon games available in some way to purchase on modern platforms or modern Switch, and they've been long rumored, so I would say maybe don't get your hope up. But I think the things I would expect they would announce would be something, possibly announcing the next mainline Pokemon game, maybe something in terms of the card game, maybe something with one of their theme parks. I did watch a video of the new Pokemon theme park that opened up in Japan. It's extremely cool. I watched a person tour around there, and it's just very, very interesting. The Pokemon look really, really great. They have it set up so nicely. And then I did see some pictures like a week later where it snowed there, so all the Pokemon were hanging out in the snow. So just a really awesome looking experience there. But the Pokemon 30th anniversary is coming up on February 27th. So just putting that, keeping that on your radar, and I'll definitely be keeping you up to date with what's going on with that. All right, staying on the Pokemon side of things, this one's really just to put it on your radar. I think things are bubbling up pretty nice about this game. I think it's going to sell well, and people are going to really like it. I'm a little bit on the fence if I'm going to be jumping in there, but I'm being tempted more and more on Pokemon Pokopia. It's going to release on March 5th, so only really a couple weeks away, which is pretty crazy. It's going to be $69.99 US for a Nintendo Switch 2, so a full price game. Shape the world and build a cozy new life with Pokemon. Learn the moves of your fellow Pokemon to change the land, such as Bulbasaur's leafage to make the wild grass grow. You can also use abilities to transform and navigate the world around you, like crossing water with Lapras's surf. So I saw one somebody on Twitter or X saying it looks like a mix of Animal Crossing, Dragon Quest Builders, and Viva Pinata. It might have been Wario64 or one of those other channels that I can't remember who it was, or I would say, but that was the talk there. So to varying degrees, and I think those are all kind of good, cool comparisons. We also have the Tamagotchi Life coming out, and I've been on the Animal Crossing train, and I've just been getting to some new content there. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm not immediately sold on this game, like a day one thing for me, but I kind of have a feeling this one's going to be good, and a lot of people are going to like it. So that's Pokemon Pokopia coming out on March 5th. I'll probably remind you again of that, but I just want to say that that one's kind of bubbling up out there, that it's going to be a big deal, and I want to make sure you're aware of it. All right, the last bit of news to talk about is not too surprising, but sad news as always. I've talked about layoffs many times on this show, and some layoffs have hit Highguard. That's that game that came out a couple weeks ago. It was the closer announcement of the Game Awards last year from Jeff Keighley, and it went radio silent for a month. They started talking about it for a couple days after the game launched. It had, I think, 97 concurrent players. The day of was the peak, and now I checked it yesterday, and there's 2,000 players playing. So a really big difference, and they've had to lay off some staff. So either way, thoughts and prayers to anyone getting laid off. That is a sad thing, and hopefully they will land on their feet. This one's just they really mishandled some things here. This one seems like it's a somewhat of a quality game, but it's going to be that question of should they have taken the marketing from the Game Awards or not? Would the game have grown organically? Would it ever have seen any eyeballs? Who knows? And I don't know. I just think it's really tough to make one of these games right now. We've seen Overwatch have a resurgence. That game has been out for a decade, and I think people would just jump back into that before possibly trying something new at this point. And it's just really, really oversaturated and tough out there. And it is kind of confusing that they didn't really see this, but I don't know how long this game's been in development. It just seems like kind of everyone in the world kind of knew that this was not going to work, and it did not work. A little bit of another Concord kind of situation. The game doesn't seem like trash, but it just doesn't seem unique or new enough, or whatever it is that is that magical little sauce that makes you want to play a video game. It just seems like these games are lacking that, and maybe it is because it's coming from such a strict regimen of what we need and how we need it and how we're going to do it, and they think they know exactly how it's going to go. And I don't know. It's strange. I think most people could have expected this situation for Highguard of how it was done. I don't think anybody would be surprised by this, but I think it's sad either way. These are real people that are trying to do something. It definitely looks like a swing and a miss to me, but thoughts and prayers to anyone laid off over there at Highguard, and maybe their studio Wildlight Entertainment will release a good game in the future and hopefully have the chance to do so, and we will see. I think there was already some pretty veteran people over there at Wildlight, so I don't think it's technically like it's not like I don't know, Concerned Ape or Local Thunk, somebody developing a game and then building it out. Like these are some pretty established people that made this studio, kind of like a merger almost. And I don't know if that's the most correct way to say this, but I think that you can definitely say there were some veteran people of the video game industry that created this studio together. So they should be equipped and not everything's going to be a hit, and it doesn't look like Highguard was. And that was the final bit of news I wanted to talk about this week. So Highguard having some layoffs, so definitely thoughts and prayers to those people for real. All right, so that's everything video game wise and news wise I wanted to tell you about this week. So we talked about the PlayStation State of Play, Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 2, Castlevania's Belmont's Curse, Mina the Hollower, Ghost of Yotei Legends, God of War, Sons of Sparta, Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls, and Death Stranding 2 on the beach. So that was everything from the State of Play that I thought was extra cool. And then we talked about Kingdom Come Deliverance, Diablo 2 Resurrected, the Pokemon 30th Anniversary, Pokemon Pokopia, and then we talked about Highguard as well. So that's all the video game news I have for you. That's all the video game thoughts I have for you. But there is one final section of the show to go. So I really wish you would stick around. It'll definitely be short and sweet today because there's not a lot going on. But the third and final section is the Miscellaneous Talk section, where I can talk about anything I want to outside the video game world. So please come back after this music. Welcome back to the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 167. This is the Miscellaneous Talk section where I can talk about anything I want to outside the video game world. So I want to get into the worldwide world of sports and tell you what's going on with all my favorite teams as always. And the main thing to tell you that is there is not a lot going on with all my favorite teams right now. This is really kind of the biggest drought season of the year for my sports fandom. But, I'm here to, keep them in our hearts today. So the Carolina Panthers in the NFL in the offseason. The Super Bowl's over. The Seahawks won. On to next year. Go Panthers. And for the NBA, I'm halfway a fan of the Charlotte Hornets since I'm a North Carolina resident in the past couple of years. And I definitely misquoted some schedule stuff last week for the Hornets and the Hawks. I think that was because the All-Star break's going on. Didn't really take that into consideration. So the All-Star break has been going on this weekend. I haven't seen really any of it. And I think that's a little bit disappointing. Maybe it's a little bit of a me issue there, but I haven't been interested in an All-Star game in a long time. I barely even knew it was going on. I barely even knew the Pro Bowl was going on. So I imagine I'm not the only one feeling that way. But if you do enjoy it, then good for you. But the Charlotte Hornets, since last week, they played Detroit on Monday. The Hornets lost 104-110. Detroit, Cade Cunningham was best player on the court that game and just really, really balling out and impressive. And he's definitely one of my favorite players outside of my favorite teams. Wednesday versus the Hawks. So, a battle of my two favorite teams. The Hornets won 110-107. I don't really think it was that close of a game, but the Hornets did pull it out. So next week, the Hornets, they only played 2 games, just like the Hawks last week because the All-Star break's going on. But next week, the Hornets will play Houston, Cleveland, and Washington. And then for the Atlanta Hawks, Monday versus the T-Wolves, the Hawks lost 116-138. And then Wednesday at Charlotte, the Hawks lost 107-110 to close out the week. And now it's just All-Star break around the NBA. And then for Major League Baseball, my favorite team is the Atlanta Braves. That's my favorite team in the universe. It's the offseason for them. The 2026 season begins for the Braves on Friday, March 27th, 2026 versus the Royals. Friday, March 27th for the first Braves game of the season. So a day I am very excited for. It's only, a month and a few days away. I'll be watching Ronald Acuna Jr. hit home runs. And I've been seeing some of those I guess they're at spring training already. Out there practicing, seeing Acuna take BP against Chris Sale is very, very nice to see. So very excited for the baseball, and that is really it. So the sports world for me is going to be a little bit silent for about a month, but then it'll be the most wonderful time of the year when the baseball season kicks off and the Braves are playing once again. So that's all I got for you for today for the sports talk, and that's all I got for you for the Miscellaneous Talk section. So we talked about the Carolina Panthers, the Charlotte Hornets, the Atlanta Hawks, the Atlanta Braves, and that's all I got for you. So that's going to, wrap up this final section. That's going to wrap up the entire show. I want to reiterate some promotional talk from the beginning. Please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. To find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly, places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. YouTube is also a great place to watch me play some games live or check out the videos later. If you would like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is available if you'd like to subscribe monthly. Also, Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you would like to support the show. I thank you so much for listening. I really do appreciate it. And I hope you have a wonderful week out there in the world. And what else do I want to say? Trying to think about the upcoming week. I don't think there's anything in particular video game wise coming out. So, you never know what kind of news is going to pop up. So you always want to listen to the Dep Lewis Show. But going into next week, I really can't predict it. I think I'll probably play some of the same games. I won't really have any sports to watch, so maybe I can make some progress. So thank you again for listening. I will talk to you next week, and have a great one out there. Goodbye.